Okay, so this is week 2 of my practical. Um, so I used last week's progress as kind of like a foundation for this week. Um, so what I did this week is I finished the game. I started off by adding in the enemy attack, killing the enemies. I added in the rest of the enemies throughout the levels, all the different variations. I fixed this glitch here. I uh, I implemented these enemies and implemented different enemy types. Added in the critical choice. You can see by the text here, the big NPC cutscene here. More shotgun people, show variation. The boss fight here. I added in the turrets, the static enemy things. I added in the grave scene cutscene. I added in all of the story. I added in the sidekick for these levels afterwards, and the sidekick follows you from here onwards. I've got a full playthrough of my game um, on my Wix website on the practical experiment page, or the practical skills page, sorry. So you can see that there. You can also play it on there as well. But if I just take you through this level, for example, you can see now, no matter what you do, you can kill them. The game feels quite, the game feels good. Everything feels good. So what I'm really happy with this week, what went well is, I think, building on from the foundation and being able to you know use it kind of like as a template to build the rest of the game worked really well, worked really smoothly. My game ended up looking really polished and smooth and finished, even though it was built off of something that I made within the first week, and I just kind of dragged the rest of it together and made it all work through the story. um, and yeah, the story works perfectly no matter what way you go. Either way, the story ends up being satisfying, and yeah, enjoyable. You can also replay it because it's got a changing story, so that's pretty cool as well. Um, a couple of things that would be even better if I did add textures. Unfortunately, because of the time frame, I just couldn't add textures. It wasn't a big deal because that's not what I'm getting marked on for this FMP. But obviously, it would be able to convey things better. Like, you'd be able to tell the difference between this enemy here and this enemy here. The reason why I know the difference between this enemy here and this enemy here is because I made it. But this enemy here is a shooting one that comes up to you and shoots one bullet. This one is a shotgunner, but you can't tell that. So that is unfortunately something that does kind of affect the gameplay. But I have added in things just so the player's kind of aware of what's happening. Like, I added in like the caution thing when like the player's got line of sight on you and stuff like that. So I mean, it kind of just depends on the way you look at it. The game does give you, without the textures, like a lot of indication as to what's happening. But at the same time, it would be better with the graphics, and you will be able to tell a little bit more better. Um, you'll be able to tell better what what the game actually looks like as well, like what the enemies are doing and stuff like that. But I mean, for the minute, it still brings the point across, and it still works well within the story. So the technical problem I occurred with that I solved was the downward doors. Basically, the problem was it was colliding with the walls. So when you're going through here, the player was here, and with these ones here, where it avoids the walls, it actually lines itself up here, then goes through. These ones here it didn't. Unfortunately, I couldn't really get these to line itself up, then go through. Um, so what I decided to do was I made it so on the 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 hit wall group gets deactivated, and it activates itself. And the hit wall, what it does is it basically, whenever the player collides with the wall, it stops the player from moving that way. Because obviously I can't have like these as solid objects, and then the player's solid objects gets tapped to move, so it doesn't quite work the same as like a platform. So what I've got to do is I've got to physically just make them stop through my system. Unfortunately, that system was making the player stop when I accidentally hit these corners of the yeah, when the player hit the corners, it made them stop. So what I had to do is I just had to simply go in and just deactivate that system while they're playing, while they're moving through the door, and then reactivate it. So then after that, collisions were back in play. And yeah, the theoretical problem I came across was I wasn't sure how I was gonna have the boss and the choice characters like interact with you. So I had to come up with like a little idea of how they'll talk to you, and how like these choices how they'll give you these choices, I guess. As I didn't experiment with that, unfortunately. So it was quite difficult, but I got there in the end. The boss, as the story in the end, he's actually the good guy and you're the bad guy. It was very hard for the boss to attack you like I programmed first, even though he was the good guy. So I had to kind of edit and manipulate the script in order to make it like feel like he had no choice but to attack you. Even though he was a good guy. So I made it like, oh, how dare you kill my scientists, we were trying to help you, and then he attacked you because you did him wrong, and then afterwards you realise through his dying words that you was the bad guy, and that's why you visit his grave at the end. So that's how I kind of got around that one. This one here, it was a little easier. I kind of just had to make it so he's also an employee here as well as Mike, and he was just kind of like confronting Mike, and Mike was kind of like the beta reward, and if you kept Mike, you had to kind of do a boss battle. If you don't hand in Mike, no wait, if you don't hand in Mike, you have to do the boss battle. If you didn't hand in Mike, you could go free, so you'd lose your psychic but go free, or keep psychic and have to attack. So it was like that. In the end, it worked. It did give me a little while to like think. It did take me a little while thinking about it though, to work out how I should approach that. So there, this week my project progressed by being complete. This is now a complete game. It works. I've had people playtest it. I've had people I've had people review it, give me feedback and stuff. I've had people let's play it on their YouTube and record it. I've had a lot of stuff like that. Everyone's been able to enjoy it, and yeah, it's basically done. So this means that practically I don't have to work on anything else now, and next week I can work on writing it up and kind of reflecting on what I've done throughout this project, and how I have achieved um, making this game. So yeah.